It's October, one of my favorite months of the year. Oh, yes. Welcome back to Ferox Frank Reviews, folks. Today, we're going full Halloween mode now. And yeah, not too sure this filter's actually working out. I might change it up later on, but hey, why not keep it nice and dark for a while? Am I right? Anyway, what movie am I going to start off today? What movie am I going to start off now? What movie am I going to work with? I know. Remember when I actually did the movie Alien and I said it was technically considered a haunted house in space? Yeah, many of you critics had said that. So, guess what? Many critics were high as fuck at the time because that's not a haunted house in space. No, that's a slasher film in space. Seriously, how did nobody realize that was actually a slasher film in space? I mean, come on! Think about it. So, yeah, I know Halloween wasn't even out yet, though, but still, think about it. It's literally a slasher film in space. What the hell? Well, thank you very much, critics, for screwing that one up. So today, I'm actually going to review what many is considered a real haunted house in space. A movie that actually has been ridiculed and also got a lot of hate and also made fun of because of its bad editing, but is now a massive cult classic. And is also now recognized as a film that really needs to be more appreciated. Today's film is Event Horizon. Like fire's burn, consuming all. Like fire's cold in the throat. Ashes fall, the sky turns red. Winds of pain, whispers of fear, silent screams, no one is near. The earth cracks, walks, swallowing the light. Just an FYI, that opening screen and that music I'm using right now, it's going to be like that throughout for the next 2 months. All right, so yeah, I'm actually gonna continue this entire Halloween trend from October all the way up to early December. So yeah, I'm legitimately going full on on this one. So to be fair, there are going to be 2 movies in November I am going to review that are not Halloween related. So what the hell? But anyway, let's take a look at the film we're going to be reviewing today. It's right here in the sci-fi collection, in this 10-film sci-fi collection. Wow, just look at that! All these films we have right here. We have Project Almanac, uh, Aeon Flux, Hey Paycheck with Ben Affleck and Uma Thurman, which is a John Woo film, and I really need to review that movie one of these days. I'll probably review it in December among something. The live action Ghost in the Shell, which nobody wanted to see. Even though Scarlett Johansson was in the movie, nobody wanted to see this movie. Why? Because the anime film was just a lot better. And a lot of people mostly think it's because of the fact that the main character went full nude when she had to go invisible, but no, that was actually just the cherry on the Sunday, which the film was actually had great storytelling. So yeah, nice one there. Oh, what's this? We have The Island on here with the Michael Bay film. We have our feature. We actually have Arrival, which is not the Charlie Sheen film. A lot of people say it was a lot better. Although I have no idea what the hell this is. This could actually just be a remake for all I know. I'll probably get to it at some point. But speaking of remakes, we have The Time Machine. Remember that remake? Yeah, judging by the look on your faces, you probably don't give a shit about that film. But don't worry, I will probably get to that film one of these days. But we also have Terminator Genesis. I just realized I really need to do Terminator 2 one of these days. I guess I'll, I guess I'll save it for December. And we also have our feature film Event Horizon. And another horror film, and The Relic, which is not sci-fi related. Yeah, this is the only film that's actually not sci-fi related. Yeah, look at that. The Relic. Yeah, from '97. The creature feature film. Why is that even on here? I don't know. I guess they really screwed up. I guess they wanted to get the movie Mimic, which is also sci-fi oriented too, but it's also a major creature feature film. So fuck it. Anyway, we're going to be looking at today's feature film, which is Event Horizon. Although it would have been nice if they actually had the movie's poster here, but nope, it's only part of the poster. So screw it. Here we go. And the movie is directed by It's directed by Paul Anderson, the very same Paul Anderson who made the first Mortal Kombat film and the entire Resident Evil film series that Troy and I actually reviewed all that long time ago. Oh, I can just remember that. We should have done the CG films. Seriously, Troy, bro, if you're watching this, we have got to do those CG films one of these days. But something's telling me we're gonna have to probably do Welcome to Raccoon City as well. But yeah, God, so many goddamn Resident Evil projects, and there's another film coming out, so that's also a remake. Ridiculous. That being said, let's get started. The movie basically opens up with a bunch of narrating text telling us how far we've advanced in the future. Considering this film came out in January of '97, probably not that far. And yeah, it says in 2015 we actually colonized the moon, and at some point later on we colonized Mars. I'm rolling my eyes out of sheer stupidity, just believing this movie's sheer stupidity is that we are almost half a century away from actually doing something like that, if not possibly a century. God, science fiction's ridiculous when you think about it. I mean, it's legitimately straight up ridiculous, but hey, what do I know, right? I'm a science fiction fan myself, and I'm a sucker for this shit. So that being said, the movie takes place in 2047. Now, 7 years prior, it says that the ship known as Event Horizon actually was supposed to make a hyper jump from the orbit of Neptune to Proxima Centauri, which is our nearest star. It didn't do that. In fact, it actually blew up. But that's what they said in the public. What actually happened was it just straight up disappeared. 7 years later, it shows up. And we are introduced to our main character. It's one of our main characters, Sam Neill, playing Dr. William Weir, who is basically having nightmares and hallucinations about his wife. And we jump to the Lewis and Clark. We have to jump to the Lewis and Clark's the spaceship and the rescue team that's actually going to go out to Neptune. Being led by Captain Miller, played by Lawrence Fishburne. We also have the other characters too, which I will get to in a few minutes. So the team gets ready and they go to hypersleep, and we wait. And of course, 3 months, and approximately about 2 months, about less than 2 months later, the crew wakes up and Miller Weir has a horrific nightmare about his wife, and it turns out it was just a nightmare, nothing more, nothing less. So we're introduced to our other main characters. We have Weir the scientist who created the Event Horizon, Miller the captain, played by Lawrence Fishburne. We have DJ the doctor, Smitty, who is also the pilot, Mr. Justin, aka Baby Bear, who is the navigator, and yes, his nickname is Baby Bear. Just go with it. All right, Stark, who is basically who is lieutenant and second in command. DJ, our doctor. Peters, our nutritionist and nurse. So there's that, and we also have our funky spaceman, Cooper. And he's actually one of my favorite characters in the movie because he can be a raging asshole, but he is such a lovable raging asshole. And for those who actually have seen this movie, yes, it is the same actor who plays Lieutenant / Sergeant Gray from Nathan Fillion's show, The Rookie. Okay, yes, I am aware it's the same guy, and yes, he was also the Navy captain in Godzilla. Okay, I am well aware it's the same actor. Jeez, look, I know for a fact that he's actually very strict and he's actually very serious in those parts, but in this movie, he's the polar opposite, and he is a fun character. And I just realized that Sam Neill is actually going to be in Godzilla X Kong, the third film. Huh? Kind of weird when you think about it. Somebody get Lawrence Fishburne in the next Godzilla Kong film. That way we can come full circle. Or Jason Isaacs because he's in the movie too. Just come on. Anyway, they actually introduce each other and they tell them what they all do, and Weir tells them exactly what the Event Horizon does. So they think they can actually break through, jump through light speed. But a lot of people said that's complete bullshit. Hey, several Star Trek fans will heavily disagree with you on that one, but hey, what do I know? And they pull the alien, yeah, they pull like the Weyland Yutani route and say they actually go through cryo sleep all the time. So, but anyway, what happens is that the Event Horizon doesn't actually just go to light speed. It actually folds space time. But of course, everybody's asking the Doctor, talk layman's terms. You speak English, motherfucker. So here's the thing. Now in the movie, he explains with a porn centerfold. In this segment, I will be using a heating pad, which actually helped my back a while ago, because I had terrible back pains last week. Oh, don't ask. Anyway, the Event Horizon is actually equipped with something called a gravity drive. So what does it do? Once it's activated, it actually does this. Now, what is the shortest distance between part A and part B, which are thousands of light years away? The simplest answer would be go to a straight line. Yes, this is very true. However, Weir actually says no, that's wrong. The answer is 0. But then again, this is a science fiction film. This is a science fiction horror film. I'm just going to let this one slide. And he basically explains what the thing actually does. The gravity drive actually opens up a portal which folds space-time in general. So the ship can go from point A to point B in less than a minute. And when the gravity drive shuts down, space-time returns to normal. All right. Now, a lot of you are wondering how the fuck does that work? Well, we find out what it is a little bit later on. So, after that wonderful explanation, which of course the crew is a little bit baffled by how the hell the thing worked like that. He says also the company that sent them out actually received a message, and Weir placed the message. It's mostly garbled and there's some weird interference to it though. And later on, he actually replaced another segment of it though that went through a filter where it actually hears somebody speaking, but it sounds like people screaming and somebody speaking. But Weir says it doesn't even qualify as language. But DJ overhears it as if it's actually Latin. The guy was speaking Latin. And apparently the Latin phrase that he said was Liberate me, save me. And before you say anything else, yes, I'm aware of the fact that's not the actual translation, but whatever. You know, that's how Google works nowadays. So we actually can look, if you want to know the actual translation, look it up on Google. Or just do some reading. Whatever. So they get to Neptune and they actually find the ship, and it's a big ass ship. And also, am I the only one that happens to notice that the ship is actually in the shape of a crucifix? Yeah, we have the four decks itself. We have this long shaft, which of course is the bridge gap between the main ship and the core, which of course actually is the main engineering section. And the engineering section looks like an inverted T. So it kind of looks like a cross. Did nobody even notice that? Okay, am I the only one that noticed that? Guess I did notice it. It's one of my ADHD acting up, but hey, how do I know? So they tried doing a bioscan to find out where the hell the crew is, and there's bioscans all over the ship. So they said, okay, screw it, it's not working. So they put on their spacesuits, they walk into the ship, the gravity is offline, the ship's main power is completely offline, it's all automated at this point. So they look all over the ship, they can't find anything, but the main corridor itself is actually loaded with explosives. Weir explains that with the explosives, if anything happens to the core, they can actually explode the corridor, separating the ship from the engineering section. And they can use the forward decks as a lifeboat. Cool. Makes a whole lot of sense there. Actually, now that I think about it, didn't Star Trek do the exact same thing with the Enterprise? Because in Next Generation, like the saucer sections, they actually break away from the rest of the ship. And the weird thing is too, like that was the Enterprise D, and apparently apparently it was also able to do it in Enterprise B and C. Were also able to do that, but we never saw it doing that. And apparently the E can also do the same thing too. I gotta go back to doing the Star Trek films one of these days. Magnetic rings floating around it, though. And then something actually happens. The thing just stops moving, and the core activates, and the video signal from Justin's suit goes offline. And so happens, he sees that there's liquid, and he gets pulled into the liquid out of nowhere. So anyway, he sees that something happens. He sees that Justin's not being pulled in, so he suits up and goes out. So, when the power gets back on, a lot of shit falls all over the place. And to be fair, I know this is like early 90s CGI, and so late 90s CGI. The only effect that seems to work, in my opinion, aside from maybe like the corpse skull actually breaking on the bridge deck into like tons of pieces because of decompression, the cold weather that's actually out, that's in space. Now, my personal favorite effect in this sequence is actually when the gravity activates, it turns right into water immediately. It just drops right down. It's super cool. It's a bit of a silly effect. I think it's a little silly, but honestly, I kind of like the effect. It looks extremely realistic, but also semi-plausible. But then again, 90. actually helped create one, and he says it's perfectly safe. But of course, Miller tells him it's not safe at all because Justin is not. Sequences of some of the crew members, and of course, at some point, Weir actually had to go into the core with Miller to actually repair something real quick. That was inside one of the shafts, and of course, he sees his wife there again, but it's all hallucination. Miller sees the guy on fire right in front of the core, which makes no sense, but he actually says it felt real and that he felt heat. To actually get the point across. Doc, there's shit happening here. Get on. What we're saying is true, okay? Most of the time, Cooper and Smitty are actually working on the Lewis and Clark. DJ and Peters are actually trying to help Justin, and some suit. And he says, "Did you hear it? He's coming. The dark inside of me is coming. You see the things I see? You wouldn't stop me." And he hits the open airlock portion. And he hits the release to open the airlock. And at some point, he actually snaps out of it, though. So apparently, something was already had possessed him at that point, and when he actually. When he hit the open airlock button, it's on a 30-second delay timer. There was an alarm going off, which of course snapped Justin out of it, though. And they can't actually open the airlock while the outer door is engaged. Miller is actually outside with Smitty and Cooper when he gets the call, and he flies his way all the way to that section and tells Justin what to do exactly. Catches him and gets him back in there. So he's only been exposed to the vacuum of space for like what, maybe 5-10 seconds at the most. So they're trying to get more information out of Miller. They're trying to get more information out of Weir. Weir's basically it's all hallucinations and he has no idea what's going on. On the ship, the ship is the air is becoming more and more toxic because the fact that they're actually using up the reserves, and the ship has been in desolate space for like maybe 7 years at this point. So most of the reserves are already gone, and they have less than 12 hours. So, maybe it was 20 hours. I don't fucking know. It's less than a day that they have. Anyway, more of these hallucinations start freaking all of them out, and Miller's hallucinations actually get worse to the point where he sees a horrific imagery of everybody dying, and he confronts the DJ about the Burning Man that he saw back in the war. He says it's actually something he knew years ago, and he couldn't save the guy at all. And he basically did was show the airlock and actually left him behind as he was dying, so he couldn't save him at all. He was trying to save him. But if he did that, then everybody on the ship, on the rescue ship he was originally on, they were all dying. Yeah. So, math on that one, he actually trying to decode the log, because after the last log, when they come back from the when the event horizon jumps through to the actually the jump, the video log is all screwed up. After several hours and hours of filtering the footage, we finally see what actually happened. The crew basically mutilated each other and sought basically. Okay, the crew basically mutilated and murdered each other. And the video, here's the thing, it shows mutilation, getting off the ship, and they're gonna get the logs, they're gonna get all the information, and transfer it to Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark is almost finished. It's about maybe a half an hour from being it's like a half an hour from being fully prepared. So Miller's orders are vacate the ship and destroy it. Yep. Unfortunately, the bioscan. But here's the thing. Give my explanation a little bit later, probably what really happened, but I could be wrong. Okay, so basically, so now all the hallucination six are it's getting out of hand. So it's literally getting out of hand for everybody at this point, though. But Smitty and Peters actually make it to the core section. They take all the CO2 canisters they need. But so Smitty actually makes his way to the Clark. But Peter stays behind because she starts hallucinating about her son, and the hallucinations actually wind up killing her when she makes a terrible drop, and she falls right in front of the core, and she dies on the spot. Weir actually makes it over there, and he's shocked to see that Peters is dead, but he starts to hallucinate about his wife again, and he sees what actually, and we start to see what actually happened to his wife. His wife actually committed suicide while he was so busy with his work on the Event Horizon, so he feels extremely guilty about it, and now his guilt is actually eating him up. Her ghost basically tells her to be with him and to be with her in the ship, and he basically gouges his eyes out at that point. Cooper's on the outside of the Lewis and Clark. He finishes the repairs. Smitty actually tells Cooper to hurry up and get his ass inside, and he sees Weir actually leaving the ship. He's like, "What the hell?" He yells at Weir to get his ass back on the ship, but his back is turned to him, so he can't hear him at all whatsoever. So Smitty calls Miller. Miller actually answers the call, but as he answers, he notices there's something wrong with one of the explosives on the corridor. It's been removed. So he yells at Smitty to get the hell off the Clark, because it looks like Weir may have put one of the explosives on the ship, on the Lewis and Clark. So yeah, Miller races his way all the way to the Lewis and Clark, and Smitty, he's going completely batshit crazy looking for the explosive. He finds it with less than 5 seconds on, with less than 6 seconds, and it blows up into his face. And Cooper's outside, and he's like, "What the?" Miller is just sees this whole thing, and he is just devastated. Oh, and yeah, Smitty and Cooper are dead. Just kidding, Cooper's not dead at all. He's still alive. He's actually hanging on a wing piece, and he yells out, "Shit, why the fuck did this happen? Man, why the fuck is this shit happening to me?" He's literally flying away from Neptune. He's cursing like a man at this point. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. This whole thing is completely offsetting the horror we just saw happen. Oh my god. It's just so hilarious seeing this shit happen. So what does Cooper actually do? He actually he gets a crazy idea to blow his air tanks to go back to the event horizon, which actually works, by the way. He blows his air tanks and he yells out, "Yes! I got motherfucker!" So he he literally just Iron Mans himself from going from that piece of debris to the event horizon, yelling out, "Here I come, motherfuckers!" Oh, oh my god! You know what? Oh, I'm not gonna lie. When I was a kid watching this movie back in the '90s, this movie freaked me out. But the Cooper scenes always put a smile on my face because seriously, Cooper, in my opinion, was like the best thing in the movie, who offset all the crazy horrific shit that was happening. Oh my god. I'm sorry. A bit of a fun fact too. When I was watching this movie on DVD, just for this review, and when he yelled that line out, I had to pause the movie for like 10 minutes to calm myself down from laughing so hard. It's true too, because I haven't seen this movie in a long while, and that one. I know that the Nostalgia Critic reviewed this movie years ago, and he said he compared this movie to like a Homeboys in Space, but dude, I don't give a shit. That part alone was so fucking ridiculous. It was fucking awesome. Okay, back to the movie. Back to the movie. Anyway, Miller calls a DJ and tells him exactly what just happened. And he tells him that it was Weir. He tells him to take care. If he sees Weir, take him out. So DJ actually grabs the tool. He's like, "On it, sir." Then he turns around. Weir is literally right behind him with his eyes missing. It's a CG effect that looks like crap. But Weir beats the shit out of DJ, throws him all over the place, and basically beats the shit out of him. So Miller actually hears the struggle through the video comm, and DJ's not answering. So he runs it all the way to, and he hauls ass to the med bay. So, and what happens? Well, we see what technically happens, sort of. Weir throws DJ on the operating table, and well, the sound effects is pretty obvious of what happens. Yeah. By the time Miller actually gets there, we see what happens to DJ. He is dissected. Yeah, DJ is stripped naked, and his entire torso, from chest to groin, is ripped right open. All of his organs are literally all over the place at that point. Yeah, that fucked up. So Miller arms himself with a repairing tool to actually take on Weir. He makes his way all the way up to the cockpit. He finds Stark, who's knocked down. He wakes her up, but his weapon is missing, and he sees that Weir is actually on the captain's chair with his eyes sewn up. So Miller decides to distract Weir by having him talk, while Stark goes around, actually sneaks right behind him to attack him. Anyway, Weir basically tells Miller exactly what happened. Right. So Weir is now gone full blown evil at this point, and now he's working with the Event Horizon. He's saying that what actually happened was the Event Horizon was supposed to go to Alpha Centauri, which it didn't do that. So it turns out that the gravity drive tore open a hole in their universe, and they actually went to a completely different dimension of pure chaos and literal evil. So in other words, they went to a hellish dimension. They literally went to a hell dimension. So yeah, so that's what actually happened. It was a chaotic, dark realm of pure evil. And Weir has now accepted it, and he says that the ship has now become fully self-aware and is alive, and the bioscans that they've been reading is actually the ship's bio readings. Wow, that's pretty fucking intense. But anyway, Stark tries to attack her. Weir grabs her by the throat and throws her across the bridge. And he's about to shoot, and he grabs the weapon that Miller was trying to grab. which of course is a nail gun, which of course is a space age nail gun. He goes, "You miss me, Weir? You blow a hole. You blow a hole in the hull, and we all get sucked into space." Oh, what makes you think I'll miss? At that point, guess who shows up? Cooper shows up right in front of the main glass. And like, "Hey, I'm back, guys!" Weir turns the gun over and shoots at Cooper, actually causing him pressure and actually blows out the entire windshield, and of course causes a vacuum effect, and he gets sucked out. Fucking dumbass. Miller and Stark actually barely make their way out of there before the bridge gets sealed off. But the airlock activates, and they think it's weird. They're not going to take any chances. They grab some equipment. They're about to bash in whoever comes in. The door opens up, and it's Cooper yelling at, "You know what? I swear to God, we need somebody like Cooper in modern day horror films. In modern day horror films and games. Honestly, I just love this fucking. Seriously, he's such an asshole, but he has the most perfect timing. Honestly, oh God, seriously, I think Joe needs to put this guy on his A list. Actually, no, Joe. He's probably going to put Weir on the A list, but whatever. Anyway, before Weir actually shot up the entire cockpit on the bridge, he activated the gravity drive. They have less than 10 minutes before it actually turns on, and they get sucked into the hellish dimension. So Miller tells Cooper and Stark to actually prep the board deck. So Cooper has to get the emergency beacon activated, while Stark gets the pods ready for them to go to sleep. And Cooper is actually going to manually activate all the explosives in the corridor to actually make sure they set for self-destruct. That way, they actually blow the engineering section off. While this basically happens, they start to. Cooper and Stark actually hallucinate, and some stupid shit and some ridiculously scary shit happens for them, though. Supposedly, I mean, the ending is a little fast-paced at this point, so we don't know what the fuck what actually happened. Anyway, once all this is done, Miller actually gets the explosives ready, and they said, okay, they're armed, ready to blow. But then the Burning Man shows up and attacks Miller again. He makes his way into the core section, and the entire place goes ablaze at that point. The fire guy basically bitch smacks him and throws him all over the core room. But of course, the core. So yeah, the fireman goes straight up to Miller and yelling at him. He says, "You left me, but no, you're not him. I watched them die. You're just a fucking hallucination." And the Burning Man turns Ryan back into Dr. Weir as a cut-up version of himself. So yeah, complete with eyes and everything. So he's like a demonic Cenobite version of himself. Yeah, I think that Cenobite actually seems like a good word to use at this point. Yeah, Cenobite. Yeah, good enough. So Weir basically tells him that the ship brought him back. She won't let anybody leave at all. So, and he said the gravity drive is about to open up, and they're all coming with him. And he actually Miller basically tries to fight off Weir, but Weir is just too strong, and he makes Miller see all these horrific hallucinations on what's going to happen with the crew, which is basically all intensive blood, guts, dismemberment, you name it. All right, and a bit of a fun fact here. I know James Rolfe, the Angry Video Gamer, actually reviewed this movie at one point when he did like the Cinemassacre video store thing, and during the time when they said he was watching the movie for the review, he actually paused the movie at the worst times when his wife and kids walked in, and it was like all the gore scenes. I was like, oh, pause, unpause. I was like, I think Daddy needs to be alone for this movie, okay? So, yeah, that actually did happen. Just go watch the review and you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, if you pause it just right, you see all these horrific scenes. However, Miller fights through all of it. He grabs the detonator and he and of course, he actually sets off the explosives and blowing off the entire corridor. But you know what would have been something? If he would have done this. He would have done this. That would have been better. He would have just gave him the finger. You're only taking me, motherfucker. My crew ain't going with you. So yeah, the entire corridor blows up, and the forward decks, they actually get far. The explosion causes the forward decks to actually get away from the area, while the engineering section with the core gets sucked into the black hole and sending them both into the hellish dimension. So yeah, Miller actually sacrifices himself to make sure his crew is safe. Well, basically 3 months later, we get a rescue team coming in, and they actually wake up Stark. Only when one of the rescuers actually opens his mask, it's actually Weir. And then it turns out that Stark was actually having a nightmare at that point, and she starts going mentally mad. So basically, Cooper tries to calm her down. The rescue guy tells them to get some sedatives in there, and the Event Horizon door just closed, thus ending the movie and popping the credits up. And can I seriously ask, whose idea was it to actually use the funky shit from Prodigy? I mean, this song feels very inappropriate for this film. Just saying. And that's Event Horizon. So now that I talked about the entire film itself, I think it's about time I talk about the other version of the film we never got the chance to see. Now, this movie has a bunch of bad edits throughout the entire movie, but it's actually the fact that originally, this movie is 95, it's about 95 minutes, almost to 100 minutes, give or take. Here's the thing, this is the theatrical cut version, but the original version was over 130 minutes long and was mostly a massive gore fest. I wish I was joking about that, but no, it was all those gore scenes that we actually saw in those segments. They were supposed to be extended. Yeah, and there's actually scenes that were actually from the original trailers from '96 that actually were cut from the original, or were actually cut from the movie in general. And these scenes were extremely graphic, and we were supposed to get more nightmarish scenes and more horrific hallucinations. So this movie is the original gore cut version is a legitimate extreme haunted house in space, borderline verging on Hellraiser territory. And I wish I was making it up, but no, it's legitimate Hellraiser territory. No joke. No joke. Straight up uncensored Hellraiser, if you don't get my drift. And before you say anything, let me answer your very first question. Yes! The gore cut does exist. It's extremely hard to find. It's not even on DVD or Blu-ray yet, though. You want to know where you can find it? You can find it on a VHS. Yeah, as in a videotape. Let me explain. Okay, after the original version was actually made, the producers and the studio said they had to edit the film down for theatrical reasons, and mainly due to the fact that the Hollywood was very squeamish back then. Yeah, squeamish. Plenty funny to know that we couldn't see the movie back then, but today we actually see the original version in theaters nowadays. Oh boy! Oh, you remember the scene that going back a little bit earlier, how the scenes were all extended? Yeah, that scene where the crew was mutilating itself. It was heavily extended, so we see a lot more horrific shit. Like everything I said that happened earlier. Yeah, that was just the PG variation of what really went on. Oh god, it was just really all types of fucked up. And the crazy thing is too, is that Anderson actually hired amputees to do the horrific scenes too. That way, when a body part gets ripped off, that person already had that body part ripped off anyway, so it looks like that. So yeah, it was made to look realistic as possible. So it was extremely grotesque. And test audiences actually wound up screaming and leaving the theater while seeing that shit too. God damn, that is all kinds of fucked up. Whew. But let me explain something to you. Where does this gore cut version actually come from? Where happened to the gore cut version? Well, here's what happened. The original Gore Cut version, like all the reels of it, was supposed to actually be set to a vault, but the vault wasn't actually secure enough, and it was heavily contaminated, and thus all the film reels were destroyed. Yeah, but you want to know what's really funny? What's really funny? It turns out some of the film reels were not the Gore Cut version, but actually the R-rated cut version. Yeah. So when the film reels that contained the theatrical cut version went to being made for VHS, some of the reels are actually the Gore Cut version. Yeah, not even joking. So when the movie actually made its way on VHS, apparently one out of 50 50 VHS tapes was the Gore Cut version. Out of 50 tapes, one VHS was supposedly the Gore Cut version. That's fucking insane. Here, let me paint this picture for you. Like, say the movie came out in January '97. Like, you're in college, you're doing projects and stuff though, and you don't have time to watch it though. But your friends watched it. They say all the type of stuff about it though. Months later, it's like, you just get through your finals, and you just got your finals done. You have the weekend free. What do? Well, it's months later, and the movie actually made its way on VHS. So what do? You go to the local Blockbuster, and you see the film is right there on the counter to be rented. So you go to a local video store, say Blockbuster, and it's right there. What do? You rent the movie, you grab it, and you pop the movie. You go to your dorm room while everybody's still like doing some other projects for the finals. You pop the film in, and it's not the film they talked about. It is a much more darker, fucked up version than they ever imagined. So you hold on to the tape, and the next day, like your friends are free, you tell them exactly what you saw. They look at you like you're crazy, and you said you have proof. You bring them over to your place. You show them the movie. They all freak out, and that is supposedly how the Gore Cut versions. The Gore Cut is legend spread. And the crazy thing is, that's actually one of the true stories of how it actually came to its existence. Yeah. Anderson has been trying to get his hands on the Gore Cut version, actually heard about the rumor, and it turns out many people on Reddit and many people on Google and many people on YouTube have expressed that they have seen that version, that is actually one of the reasons how they found out about the existence of the Gore Cut version. Apparently, 1 out of 50 VHS tapes was the Gore Cut version, and the rest of them was just the R-rated film that I just reviewed. So yeah, it was a real thing. It really did exist. It really still does exist. The crazy thing is too, one of Anderson's buddies actually has an unopened copy of one of those VHSs, but they're afraid to open it up at the moment though. So supposedly we may actually get to see So supposedly they're trying to work on something to actually see if they can get that version, to open up that version, play the film, and transfer the footage from VHS to DVD, and then from DVD to Blu-ray. All right, so we may actually get the Gore Cut one of these days. Maybe not now, maybe sometime in the future. And from there, we will probably see the Gore Fest that we were originally supposed to see in the movies. Whew! This was really quite something. I mean, my God. This movie is like ridiculous. It scared me when I was a kid, but thankfully I saw the R-rated cut version. If I saw the Gore Cut version, I would be in therapy for years. Well, thank you very much for watching my review on Event Horizon. Yes, I know I talked a lot more than I usually do, but like I say, this movie's got a lot going for it, though. It's now a massive. It was a huge flop at the box office, but now it's a cult classic and it's gaining its recognition as it should be. Maybe people who talk shit about it, they look at it again and say, you know what, this has a lot going for it. So yeah, would I highly recommend you watching this version? That's up to you, honestly. Knowing about the Gore Cut version, if that version ever comes out, maybe I'll review it. Maybe I won't. Either way, if it's that fucked up, I probably won't review it. Well, this is the first of a very long October film festival for me. To the next time, it's another horror film. Anyway, this is Fearox Frank for Fearox Frank Reviews. Signing out. Y'all take care now. Like fire's